Georgia may be off, but college football is not, and we're here for our picks. A lot of big games this weekend. One in particular that's huge. Penn State is traveling to Ohio State, Matt. The Nittany Lions are, I don't know what a Nittany Lion is, but they are a 5.5 point favorite, a 5.5 point underdog at Ohio State. Big game.
Yeah, I really like their defense. I think that's going to keep them in the game. Wouldn't surprise me if they won this game. I like Penn State a lot. James Franklin needs this game. This is a
Why?
game that
Why?
he hasn't done it but once. I mean, Penn State has to get over that Michigan-Ohio State hump. This probably needs to be the year they do it. They're playing great football. I think 5.5 points. They can keep this close. 12 o'clock game at noon, I think is in Penn State's favor, actually. Wouldn't surprise me if they won the game, but I think they keep it close. I think they cover this one.
I'm going with Ohio State at home here. I think that they can win by a touchdown. I do like Penn State a lot. I think they're a good team. I think that Penn State, Ohio State, and Michigan really could kind of eat each other all up and make that interesting at the end for the Big Ten. But I'm gonna go with the home team here. I think Ohio State's starting to pick it up a little bit. They're looking a little bit sharper than they did at the beginning of the season.
I don't think we know at all what we've got with Penn State, but I will take the free points. I would imagine Ohio State wins this game, but we'll just see. There's so much we don't know about Michigan and Penn State, to be honest with you. At least Ohio State has gone out and played some challenging games this year, specifically their win at Notre Dame. Matt, Tennessee, Alabama. It's the third weekend of October. That means it's time for the Vols and Tide to get together. This game is at Alabama, 3:30 CBS. The Tide are an 8.5 point favorite.
I'm going to take the Vols here, rivalry game. I know it's tough to go on the road in the SEC. I think Alabama can win by a touchdown, but 8.5 points, I think Tennessee's defense is good enough to keep this one close. I think first to 20 points might win this game. Low-scoring game, so I think Tennessee goes on the road, loses, but I think it'll be closer than 8.5 points. I'm going to take the Vols to cover.
I'm going with Alabama. 8.5's a little. It was a little much for me, but I think they can do it. Just remember how emotional and big of a game and consequential this game was last year. I mean, this really affected the rankings big time. It won't affect the rankings the way it did this year, but I think Alabama's going to want revenge. They're going to want it at home, and I think that they're very similar teams, and Alabama's just a slightly better version.
I think that's actually the best way to put it. They're very similar teams. However, I'll take Tennessee and the points. I think Alabama wins this game, to be honest. I think it's hard to play on the road. We've seen that before with Tennessee this season. I think the meat of the schedule is coming up for both these teams. I think Tennessee does. I will take the points, but I think Tennessee loses at Alabama. Neither of those teams are at all where they were a season ago. That seems clear to me. Utah travels to USC. This is a game that's, curious to say the least on Fox in primetime. I'm going to take Utah with the points. I just am tired of USC. They cannot stop anybody. Utah's offense is limited, but I think that they can slow this game down enough, Matt, to where USC doesn't get it done. I think I might take Utah straight up.
Me too. They own USC. They own USC. I don't care if this is on the road. Those people in LA, they're going to be shopping. They're not going to be at this game. This is not a home crowd environment. These people don't care. Utah owns USC. They're running the football really well. I don't even care if Cam Rising, is he a ghost? I don't know if he's playing or not every week. No one knows. I think he's just gone. I don't think he's a real person anymore. They're going to run that football really well. USC is still just they're not tough or physical on defense. Defense travels, and I think Utah just has their number. And I think you're right. They could go over there and win that game. But 4.5 points, I'll definitely take Utah there.
Yeah, this is the one I wanted to skip. My weekly I wish I could skip. But I'm gonna stick. I got a lot of home teams this week. I'm gonna stick with USC. Bad couple weeks for them. I think they can bounce back. I'm starting to think that maybe none of the Pac-12 teams are that amazing. And I don't think that excludes Utah. So I'm going to go with USC at home. It'd be a disaster if they lost again.
All right. Make sure this week, y'all, that you're going to check out our buddies at EcoPoly. They've got a very good deal but you've got to go to their store. Well, it's not a store. It's their factory, for lack of a better term, at 105 Industrial Boulevard in Eastman. Here's the thing. They've got a fall inventory closeout sale with up to 50% off of items like this chair that you can see in their factory showroom, frankly. It starts today. Today, it's Thursday, is when this thing begins. And it's going on right now from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Thursday and Friday. Saturday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. People, this is a great opportunity to go get some awesome stuff from our friends at EcoPoly. They've been such a great sponsor and partner. And when Ryan and I went down there in September, you could really see the entire process. And let me tell you, it's very impressive. Everything is made in-house there, 20-year warranty, fully recycled material, and it's made in the heart of Georgia. But make the trip down there, save yourself some, get really good value right now. Clemson travels to Miami. They're a 3-point favorite. They are a 3-point favorite. The Taters over Miami. Ryan, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Miami with the points at home. I think that, what happened a couple weeks ago with Georgia Tech, that can really change the course of a season when something that disastrous happens. I'm gonna say that's not going to be the case here, just because I don't love this Clemson team either, and I don't love them on the road, and they've had to really gut it out. I will take Miami with the points in the Gardens.
Yeah, I don't think playing in Miami is going to matter. Half the stadium is going to be empty. There could be a lot of Clemson fans down there. It's not like there's going to be some home field advantage for Miami. I think Clemson hasn't played their best football all year against a Miami team that I think is still rolling from that Georgia Tech loss. Two bad teams. I don't like either one of these teams, but I think Clemson finally shows some life. I think they go down there and win this game, and I think it'll be by 3 or more. I'm going to take the Tigers.
You're going to call them both bad teams. So you think
Aren't they both 4-2?
I test. I'm not looking at the record. I just don't see good football from either one. Yeah, I mean, you can't lose them all. So they've run into some victories, but I don't think either team is good.
Run into some victories. Hey, Matt, what did you make before I make my pick here? What did you make of Dabo's comments this week? I can read them. Did you see that?
Crazy week. I did not see Dabo's comments.
Let me read this off to the group, and then
okay.
I'll just make my pick. I'm going to take Clemson to cover here. I think that they're the better team. I think that they I don't disagree about the situation in Miami. I don't think there's going to be a lot of Clemson fans down there necessarily, but I think that Miami, I mean, North Carolina, they just whipped Miami. I got a real good chance to watch that when I was in Nashville, and it just whipped them completely. But here's what this is what was being reported as being said about that from Dabo from a press conference, I'm assuming. He says, "We're at a point where if you don't go undefeated, you are losers, you're terrible. And that's just such a terrible mindset. Honestly, we might need we might lose a few games and lighten up the bandwagon."
He wants less donors, less fans on his side. He wants it so bad to be Clemson versus everyone. And it's silly. It's a whole bunch of nonsense. Little old Clemson now. He wants less people pulling for little old Clemson. I mean, Dabo's shtick is long gone for me, but I do think they go down there and win this game.
So he went on to say, sometimes the bandwagon can get a little too full. Hey, man. I
don't think they have a bandwagon right now.
No, I mean, I don't think they do at all.
No, they already jumped off the bandwagon.
Go ahead, Ryan. What?
They already all jumped off the bandwagon. So I don't know.
I mean, after
what he's trying to ditch now.
The bandwagon, the ride seems to have ended when Georgia, kind of did them in Charlotte. So it's been some time now that they've been relevant on the national scene. I mean, what South Carolina's doing and that just sort of tragic loss to Notre Dame last year on the road. I don't know, whatever. Dabo is about as sanctimonious as it gets. These two teams may match up to take the crown of the ACC championship this season. I'll start. We got Duke and Florida State. The Blue Devils are a near 2-touchdown dog at Florida State. I have no doubt that Florida State is the much better team. They're playing better. I'm going to take Florida State to cover this line. It's a big, big line, Matt.
Yeah, I might be the biggest dummy in the world. Another road team. I'm picking another road team again. So this might be a complete disaster for me, but I'm going to take Duke on the road. Florida State's playing really well. This just feels like the game where they don't give it their best. Maybe they take Duke for granted, even though they shouldn't. Duke's a really good team, probably the best team they play the rest of the season, but there's a lot
better
of
than
points.
Miami?
Huh?
Are they better than Miami?
Duke? Yeah. Clemson's better than Miami. A lot of people are better than Miami. Duke might be football school. I think they play Florida State tough down there. I like their defense. They've got more talent than people think. Almost beat Notre Dame, and they could be ranked a little higher if they would have pulled that game out. But I'm taking Duke in the points on the road.
I am too. Yeah, I'm going with the Blue Devils. I've been lower on Florida State than I guess the consensus all year, and I think that will show by them not blowing out Duke. I think they probably come out with a win at home. If this was flipped the other way around, I'd highly consider just taking Duke to win outright.
All right, Washington State is an 18.5-point dog at Oregon. This is a 3:30 game. I'm going to take the Cougs. Here's the reason why, Ryan. I just think that was such an emotional game last week. They're playing this game at home. It's going to be they're better than Wazoo, I think, but I don't know that 18.5 is a lot. I'll just say it like that in a conference game.
Yeah, look, playoffs it's still in the picture for Oregon, and I think that style points are going to matter in the rankings, and I think that they're going to need to have some big games here throughout the rest of the year, and I think that starts this week with a bounce back. I think they beat Washington State by at least 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I like where Dean is coming with this game, especially because I think Washington State needs a bounce back game after being embarrassed last week against Arizona. But I couldn't take another road team. I had to take a home team. I'll take Oregon, 18.5. Washington State feels like they're just falling apart. Yeah. I think Oregon and Lanning, they'll bounce back. I think they win this game convincingly.
Yeah, so this next game is actually a very curious one, I think, for Georgia. South Carolina is going to Missouri. South Carolina gave away a game against the Gators this past week, Ryan. They are a 6.5-point dog on the road at Missouri. That doesn't seem like that much, but it's a 3:30 game on the SEC network, which tells you what people think of both of these teams.
It's the one I felt the best about. I think Missouri definitely can beat South Carolina at home by a touchdown. Tough luck for the Gamecocks, right? That was, what would you call that, a thriller last week against Florida, right? But Brady Cook, this Missouri offense is really good. I think they'll just outscore South Carolina.
Yeah, this feels like a classic South Carolina game where they win it when no one expects them to. So this, I could totally see them just blowing everyone's mind and winning this game, but I'm not falling for it. Give me Missouri. They can win this game by a touchdown. They're playing with a lot of confidence. They score a lot of points. At home, I could see them winning this game pretty well. This is probably a good Missouri team. This is one of the best Missouri teams we've seen in a while. Beamer's got the broken foot coming off a game where they gave it away. They had that game. They gave it away. Confidence is low. I'm going to take Missouri minus 6.5.
I agree. I think that Missouri is going to cover this line. South Carolina is going to drop to 2 and 5, if my math's right. That's a rough look for Shane Beamer, nevertheless hobbling on the sideline. The sort of Palmetto State Head Coaching Association is not looking so hot this week off the field. We'll see how they do on the field. Final pick. Ole Miss is playing at Auburn, Matt. They are a 6.5-point dog 6.5-point favorite at Auburn. That's from South Carolina, Missouri. That line is relatively close because you're just looking at what Georgia will deal with two of these teams in the near future, and they played 2 of them. Ole Miss is a 6-point favorite on the road at Auburn. It's on the road, but still.
Yeah, this is my dumb pick of the week. I look like a real dummy after this one. I'm going to take Auburn. I think at night, Jordan Hare Stadium. I don't think Ole Miss's offense is as good as they're getting credit for, but rivalry game, always tough to play on the road. I think Auburn gives a really good performance. It's going to be a raucous stadium, if I'm using that word correctly. Give me Auburn to keep it real close here. I might be dumb, but 7 o'clock, I'm going to take the home team here. Auburn keeps it close. I think they cover.
Word of the day is raucous.
Raucous.
No, I actually really could see Auburn winning this game. This feels like a game that they would just win and mess it up for me. I've got the Rebels. I think they're better. They've got a really good offense, and I think Auburn coming off 3 losses. They're starting to have less and less to play for. Give me the Rebels. I think they can do it by a touchdown. Is the line 6 or 6.5? You got 6.5 written down.
It is 6.5. Nothing. Okay, so Ryan's.
No, I'll keep. Yeah.
I agree. I've got Auburn. I think. I don't. Listen. Ole Miss. Auburn got absolutely throttled by LSU last week. They did not play great. That's kind of who they are. They played really well against Georgia. They have the capability of playing well. Not on the road, at home. They're going to have to play well. So that's what I'll say about Auburn. I think they've got Ole Miss and Alabama, and I cannot remember who else is still lingering on their home schedule. But I think this is a game where it's going to be closer maybe than a touchdown. I think Ole Miss will win. But I think, this is a fun matchup. Ole Miss line is not great. The Rebels' big guys are not where you really want to be to challenge folks. But I'll take Auburn against the line, and we'll be watching all of these games. We'll see you on the website. Thanks for watching.